the top stories, national security and judicial complex opens in Sandy Point. Antigua and Barbuda official points to improvements in vaccination card unit. And search for survivors underway in Bolivia following major flooding. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Wednesday, December 22nd, 2021. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey. Nationally, the National Security and Judicial Complex in Sandy Point has been opened. The two-story building, which sits on 10,834 square feet of land, was opened during a ceremony on Tuesday at Bouncing Hill. Both stories total 21,668 square feet and will house an outlet for the Customs and Excise Department, a substation for the Fire and Rescue Services, a police station, as well as a magistrate's court for matters in District B. Speaking during the opening, Deputy Prime Minister and Parliamentary representative for the area spoke of how significant the opening of the structure is to him and the people of the town.
Today, we gather here for this highly anticipated event, the commissioning of the Sandy Point National Security and Judicial Complex. While this may be just another ceremony for some, for me, it is a ceremony that has made me overwhelmed with pride to see the fulfillment of this long-awaited national security and judicial complex. I think only a real Sandy Pointer can truly understand how very special this occasion is for me individually and for us as a community of proud people. Let me help you to fractionally understand why for me and for many Sandy Pointers, today is an emotionally fulfilling day. May I remind you that for several years, I was the lone voice in the wilderness crying out on behalf of the good people of Sandy Point for adequate police and fire and rescue services in our beloved town.
Commissioner of Police Hilroy Brandy spoke of how the police station would assist in national security.
Overjoyed today. Today is indeed a dream realized for the government, national security, Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force, and our beloved Federation. This building was built to make the difference within the Western Corridor in the eyes of the public and in general and in history. We pledge to produce results that all of us will be proud of. We truly believe that the construction of this new building will usher in a new era of cooperation between community and the police.
Detailing the amenities of the structure was lead architect of the project, Jolene David.
Special features of this structure, that it houses the 4 government entities, as I said before: police, fire rescue, customs, and the magistrate court. A generator hut that houses an 86 kVA automatic changeover switch generator on my right here was constructed. 2 50 gallons and 1 100-gallon solar water heater and 2 1,000-gallon cisterns are installed on the roof.
The overall cost of the project was $5.5 million EC and was done by Skeet and Associates. The government of the Republic of Ireland has downgraded advice on travel to St. Kitts and Nevis from avoid non-essential travel to high degree of caution in a recent travel alert on its country website. The move, which took effect from 17th December 2021, advises Irish nationals desirous of traveling to St. Kitts and Nevis to undertake proper research and carefully consider the necessity of their travel at this time. They are also being asked asked to be aware of possible limitations to consular services and ensure travel insurance coverage before they travel. St. Kitts and Nevis, on the other hand, continues to uphold its May 29, 2021 decision that only fully vaccinated arrivals will be allowed entry into the Federation, with exemptions being in place for citizens, residents, and children under the age of 18 coming from international destinations. Non-vaccinated children under 18 traveling with fully vaccinated parents are welcomed, but must observe the same protocols associated with vaccination in place as their parents. The St. Christopher and Nevis Social Security Board was highly commended by Minister of Social Security, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, for its meaningful corporate response to assist families across the Federation who were negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Last July, the company donated hundreds of food vouchers valued at $200 each to families in need of assistance. On Monday, during day 4 of the budget debate in the National Assembly, Minister Hamilton said that the response was welcomed. The minister stated that by September of this year, a total of 2,900 food vouchers had been given out to more than 1,500 persons. The vouchers were distributed by district teams from the National Emergency Management Agency to suitably qualified households. Persons redeeming the vouchers were required to carry a government-issued picture identification as proof of identity. Regionally, officials at the vaccination card unit say the same-day processing of identification cards is progressing seamlessly. They also say there are major improvements in other areas, including the printing and collection of outstanding cards. ABS's Sherlyn Beezer reports.
Senior Clerk Orette Mickle provides an update for the period 6th to 20th December.
So far it's going good. We have over 5,000 cards that are already printed and then over 4,000 that are already collected as well.
Mickle says there has been an uptick in applications with over 1,500 emails to be processed. Vaccination card unit manager Michelle Warner-Morris says there's been an increase in the turnout of applicants under the new same-day system.
On a daily basis, we're averaging almost 600 persons per day, where they're coming in, they're dealing with the clerks. The clerks are able to process the cards, and they're walking out with the cards in their hands.
Warner-Morris says it's been overwhelming, as individuals are opting to visit the unit instead of emailing their requests. She's encouraging people to continue emailing their submissions. The vaccination card unit manager says the response from applicants has been favorable, being able to leave with their cards. The introduction of a Trace Vax card email is also allowing for the processing of long outstanding requests.
If you would have submitted your card and have not received a response within a month's time, you can simply send an email to tracevaxcard@ab.gov.ag.
Warner-Morris says those emails will be checked daily and the cards quickly processed.
And the clerks have been doing a phenomenal job handling the crowd and getting the cards created.
The vaccination card unit manager says over 27,000 cards have been printed and the aim is for 30,000 by year end. Sherlyn Beezer reporting for ABS News.
And finally, in regional news, Trinidad and Tobago's Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi says government is not proposing a mandatory vaccination law. This as he responded to the numerous union leaders who are now accusing the government of imposing a mandatory vaccination policy on government employees. More in this TTT News report.
Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi disclosed that he invited leaders of various unions to discuss the government's insistence that public sector workers should be vaccinated against COVID-19 from mid-January. Among the unions he has written to are the Prison Officers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Police Social and Welfare Association, Fire Services Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and the Public Services Association. He has since received responses from the Oilfields Workers Trade Union and Trinidad and Tobago Registered Nurses Association, who have confirmed their willingness to meet. The AG is hopeful that the consultation will make the transition a smooth one, but he did admit that government did not speak collectively to the trade union movement.
What's the reason? People need to know where you are. The government received its information, assessed its data, consulted with experts, looked at the international context, consulted again, and then the government announced its policy. The starting point for any proper conversation is, what is your policy on this?
The Attorney General said those employed in the public sector will have the choice of being vaccinated and turning up to work.
That we are treating with a balancing of rights. The balancing of rights between those persons who wish to be protected in the context of being vaccinated and those persons who wish to exercise their free choice in not being vaccinated.
AG Al-Rawi also made it clear that members of the public conducting business in the public sector would not be required to be vaccinated.
Patrons who access the public service, people who come for services at the public sector, are not in the bucket of being asked to receive or produce their vaccination certificates. The reason is that we can control the crowds. So we can't control the workforce in a productive environment.
When it comes to the furlough of employees who are not vaccinated by mid-January, the AG said eventually this would lead to their termination or resignation, as the furlough period for an employee is not indefinite. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
Internationally, several people are missing after torrential rain caused serious flooding in east and central Bolivia. Rescue teams are searching flooded areas for survivors. Al Jazeera's Priyanka Gupta reports.
In Bolivia, workers on a raft with a heavy machine caught in a swirling sea of mud and floodwater. The sheer force of the Pairai River was too strong. The two were swept away, leaving the bulk of metal tossed around like a paper boat until it disappeared.
After trying to save their heavy machinery, they got trapped by floodwaters and were swept away.
Bolivia is in the middle of its rainy season. Floods are not uncommon, and so is the misery.
We have been stuck here since early morning because of rising river water.
As rivers rise, homes, roads and farmland are destroyed, and several people are missing. Rescue workers are trying to reach them. But more rain is expected in the coming days, with warnings that water levels may rise even further. Priyanka Gupta, Al Jazeera.
And finally, in international news, public support for capital punishment in Japan remains strong, despite criticism from abroad, particularly from human rights organizations. More in this Euronews report.
Japan has carried out its first executions in over 2 years. One man was hanged for killing 7 family members in 2004. The other 2 prisoners were executed for the murder of 2 clerks at an arcade game parlor in 2003. Japan is one of the few developed countries to keep the death penalty despite international criticism. Yet the Japanese government maintains it as necessary in the face of atrocious crimes.
And now for the weather. Current conditions are partly cloudy skies. Winds are a light breeze of 7 miles per hour from a northeasterly direction. Seas are 1 to 1.8 meters or 3 to 6 feet. Weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis today will be mostly cloudy with a 60% or moderate chance of showers. Tonight will be fair to partly cloudy with a 20% or slight chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 5:43 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow at 6:37 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey.